The book I finished for February was Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T Harv Eker. Despite the title, it's not so much about making money. It's actually more about the mindset of a millionaire. And there are so many things in this book that I would like to talk about, but to keep everything short and simple, I just picked 5 things that I never thought about before, or they really kind of changed the way I think about money. First point is the idea of having a financial thermostat. And again, this is kind of subconscious as well, but that we are only comfortable in a certain financial range. Usually it's either similar to our parents or similar to the people that we hang around. The example is like with lottery winners. That's why they, after a couple years, they return to their same financial state, even after they've won like millions and millions of dollars, because they're only comfortable with a certain amount, subconsciously, of course. They don't know how to handle that much, or their mindset and their actions and practices didn't grow in proportion to their assets, and that's why they just kind of went back to a level that they were comfortable at. Or rich people, like super rich people. Do you think a billionaire would be comfortable if they only had $1 million? Probably not. And they would probably, take whatever actions necessary to bring them back to that billionaire range of money. This made me think because I realized, oh, it's true. Like I only really stay within a certain range. As much as I know about like saving and investing and everything, like I really just kind of like hover around like the same number. It's like a growth stunt. Like if I can't get past this range, then I'm never really gonna like accomplish everything that I want to accomplish financially. So it's something that I really had to sit down and think about, like, okay, so why am I uncomfortable with a certain amount of money? Like, why do I always bring myself down either by like making a huge purchase when I get towards a certain number? What's keeping me from that range? Like, why am I scared of money, basically? Point number 2 is most people play the money game not to lose, whereas rich people play the money game to win. This means that most people are concerned with just survival and security. They just need to pay the bills this month. That's all we need. Or I just need a job that pays for this, and this, and then I'll be comfortable and happy. Whereas rich people, they make plans and they make room and they take, measured risks for abundance and wealth, and to have nice things and not just get by or scrape by. And this really made me think for myself as well, because although my financial goals have changed from when I started college, I didn't change my major, but I changed like my career choice. And so the financial goal changed in terms of numbers, but I basically just wanted enough to get by. Like, I didn't want any more money than I needed, because I also used to think that, why would you need more money? Like, you just need money to like pay rent and food, and then like maybe go to a restaurant once a week. That's what I thought about money. And like the idea of like being wealthy or having anything luxurious wasn't really on my radar. And it made me realize like how small I've been playing with my financial goals. And of course, if I'm playing small, of course I'm going to stay small. And I think that's another thing that kept me in like that financial range that we talked about. So something to think about, like if your goals are just to make enough, then you'll never make more than that. So consider like maybe shooting a little bit higher, and then you'll hit your minimum goal anyway, and maybe you'll pick up something nice along the way as well. Number 3 is the idea of commitment versus want. He says that poor people want to be rich, rich people are committed to being rich. And this can go for any goal in your life, whether it's becoming fit or losing a certain amount of weight or getting into the college or career that you would like. Do you want it? Or are you committed to it? Because if you want it, I don't know, that's a little bit wishy-washy, and then you can cave to excuses or to circumstances. But if you're committed to it, like you will forge a path. You will not accept excuses. You will make time. You will find a way. You will create a space for it. It's basically non-negotiable if you're committed to something. Are you truly committed to your goals? Like, would you say I'm committed to accomplishing blah, blah, blah? Or do you say, I want that. That'd be really nice to have that. Even just your internal dialogue about your objective will say a lot about how successful you actually are anticipated to be. Number 4, become bigger than your problems. And again, this applies to everything else in life. If you aren't uncomfortable, if you aren't challenging yourself, then you're not growing. I think a lot of people, they flee discomfort, they flee a challenge, they flee anything that they might have to try something new to get through. And I think as we just feel safe. And again, this goes again with like, you know, playing the money game not to lose. Like you just want to be safe. You don't want to take any risks. Like you want everything to be guaranteed. Well, there are no guarantees. Problems aren't a bad thing. Like I read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson last year, and it's one of my favorite self-help books. And he talks about like, you can't ever avoid problems. Like there's always going to be a problem. You want to have better problems. That's the point of life, is progressing to better problems. So instead of having the problem of being broke and not knowing where your rent money is going to come from, or not really getting the luxury of going on vacation because you can't afford it, instead of having those problems, why don't you have the problem of not knowing where to go on vacation because there are so many wonderful places that you can afford? Or even the problem of like having so much money that now you have to learn how to manage it, or hopefully you learned to manage it before you got a lot, but you know, the problem of managing a lot of money, or the problem of deciding between investment accounts. Like those are better problems than not having money. So that's another thing for people that say like, more money, more problems. Like you're always going to have the same amount of problems. Get better problems. And to get better problems, you have to become bigger than your current problems. And to that, you kind of just have to lean into the discomfort, you know, and kind of like grit your teeth and work through it. And don't be afraid of uncomfortable situations, where this is talking to someone that you think is out of your league, or going to an event where you don't know anybody, or investing in something, or, you know, reading a book about money or learning about investing. Like, yeah, it's uncomfortable, but it expands your world. And in that sense, you'll become bigger than your problems, and your current problems, which seem like level 10 problems, will become level 5 problems. Number 5 is the concept of net worth versus income. It's pretty basic, but I don't think I actually understood what net worth was and why income isn't that great of a measurement. When, you know, as a child, even like last week, I kept on thinking about my financial goals in terms of like, how much money did I want to make per month, per year? Just like, oh, what's a good comfortable range? There's a problem with just measuring your financial state by income, because you can make, you know, whatever amount of income, but maybe your expenses exceed your income. And then what if something happened, especially if you have like if your income's coming from like a job, a very active job where you like put in actual time and you get money for that time. What if something happens and you lose your job, or you're suddenly unable to do your job? Then you're not really financially secure. Just because you bring in a lot of money monthly or yearly doesn't mean you're very secure. Whereas net worth is your cash in your bank plus the cash sum of everything you own. Like if you suddenly needed a lot of money, like if you sold your house and your car and your property and, you know, whatever else, your bonds and your investments and anything like that, like how much would that be? That's your net worth. Your net worth has a lot more to say about your financial security and then what you're worth financially. Of course, net worth is not the same as self-worth. Let's not get those confused. And by the way, millionaire means $1 million net worth, not $1 million income. I didn't know that either. I don't really have any point to take home about that, but it is something that I learned, and I wanted to pass it on to you. And don't be as small-minded as me and only be concerned with your income, because that doesn't say very much about your financial future or your current security. And that is all I have for this review or a little summary of Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T Harv Eker. Yeah, it was a really interesting book. It's probably one of my favorite money books. I haven't read that much, but I really liked it. It's also very simple to read, and especially the second half of the book where it's talking about poor people think this way, rich people think this way. It's just very straightforward, very simple, and there are exercises or like questions to ponder throughout the book. So it's going to be a very easy, very productive and useful reread. I don't know when I'll be rereading it next because I have 10 more books to go this year, but I do recommend it. I do recommend it for anybody that wants to be successful in life, because these concepts are kind of universal. So next month, or this month for March, I will be reading Brene Brown, The Gifts of Imperfection. So check back on my channel next month for that video. If you'd like to see anything else from me in terms of, like I said, workouts, travel, I would like to do a lot more sit-down videos talking about things that I learned and that I would like to pass on. Go ahead and subscribe so that you can see those on your feed. And of course, if you like it, please like it. And don't forget to comment if you have anything to add, any questions you would like me to answer, or if you'd like to suggest another book for me to read and review this year. That is all I have for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I want to wish you a happier, healthier, and more magical day. Bye bye.